When we need to look for a file with a specific file name on Linux, we can use a tool called find. And this time they were nice and they actually kept the vowel in there, so it's not FND or anything or FD. No, we're just going to use find. So to get started with this exercise to practice, we are going to download some files to our computer. And we're going to make sure we're in our home directory, so we could type cd or cd space tilde. Those do the same thing because we're trying to get to our home directory. So if I type pwd, I can see I'm in my home directory. In the home folder, I'm in my Ubuntu directory. So that's good. Now I'm going to run a command that's not going to actually do anything. rm-rf sci-fun files. It would delete a directory recursively called sci-fun files. I don't have that directory now, but if you're redoing this a couple of times just to practice, you might need to do this. So we're just going to do it. And there's nothing to delete. It's fine. There's still nothing. If I run ls, didn't list anything because there's nothing there. So that's fine. The next command, it's this big git clone command, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste that command over here, paste as plain text. What this is going to do, so Git is a program used for managing source control, code for programming files, codes for ebooks, code, any kind of text files and data that needs to be managed very carefully to track all the changes bit by bit. We're going to use that git command. We're going to use the git clone, which is basically going to download a repository of files to our computer. And this is the URL that I set up out on a service called GitHub. GitHub manages your source code on their platform. So this is a big download, basically. So you just run it, downloads a bunch of stuff. We should get 100% of all of our data, so all that's good. So 59 out of 59. Got my objects 171 out of 171. So this is good. So I'm going to run ls just to take a look. Now I've got a new directory there, sci-fun files. So I'm going to change directories to that directory, cd sci-fun files. And there's a bunch of fun stuff in there. Python, packet captures, Linux finding. Hey, Linux finding. We're going to do that today. We're going to change directories into Linux finding. So I'm going to cd Linux, and I'm going to hit tab, use my tab completion. It'll fill that in for me. Linux finding. So let's take a look. We've got customer data, fruits, and veggies in here. So imagine I had thousands of files in here, and I was looking for something specifically. So I'm going to run the find command, and I'm going to say find period with the name, and then I'm going to put what I want to match. So I'm going to use that wildcard character. Let's say I know it has something to do with fruits. I'm not sure what the file extension is. It might start with fruits, or it might be best fruits or ripe fruits, something like that, but I know it's got the word fruits in it. So this find command says look in the current, starting in the current directory, that period. That's why it's important to understand what that period means. Look in the current directory for files with the name fruits somewhere in the file name. So I run that. What does it tell me? It tells me the location is period/fruits.txt. So that's saying in the current directory, there's a file that matches that search called fruits.txt. So the basic syntax, if I go to the manual, let's look at the manual. Man find. So what does it do? Search for files in a directory hierarchy. And we can see some of the basic syntax here. And you can dig deep into it. I'm not going to walk you through me reading the manual. You're welcome to read the manual. Always good to read the manual. But we'll go over some of the basic use cases here. Anyway, now what if we don't want to just search this directory for the word fruits? If we want to search the entire system, well, my Ubuntu Linux user account doesn't have read access to absolutely everything. So if I try to search the whole system, I would get a whole lot of access denied error messages. So I want to be, instead of demonstrating that, I'm going to go ahead and run sudo. So this will say run the find command with administrative privileges to look for those file names. So if I do sudo find, where am I going to start looking? I'm going to start looking in the root of my file system. So that's why I put that slash there with the same dash name, quote, star fruits, fruits, spell fruits correctly, with those asterisks on both end of fruits for the wildcard match, and it'll run. Don't worry if you see a couple of things, no such file or directory, just that's fine. That proc folder is a little bit special. I found a file in home Ubuntu siphon files, Linux finding fruits.txt. It gave me the full absolute path to that file. So that's helpful. How would we, so let's modify this. So that's basic usage, but it works pretty well. How would we find files with the name bin in the file name? Well, we could do reaching around my microphone. So my typing goes a little bit crazy sometimes. There's probably going to be more of those. Oh man, there's a lot of those with bin in the file name. Yeah, so bin often stands for binary. And so there's a lot of binary files on our computer. So we're going to find a lot of stuff. So that search might not have been specific enough. This is going to be harder. How do you find files and directories with network in the name? So we can search for files or directories. Specifically, maybe I want just to know directories. So how do I find directories with log in the name on my whole computer? So I could find, where am I going to look? I'm going to look in the root. So it's going to search the whole computer, which reminds me I should run sudo find name. Let's look for log anywhere in the name, and we'll do type D. So that would be of the type directory. So hit the up arrow key to show that command again. So how did I figure that out? Well, we can look in the manual to see what kind of type we are going to be looking for. So I'm just going to delete all that, and I'm going to write man find. So how would I look inside here to find directories? Director, because that could be directory or directories. So I'm going to use that / type a director and hit enter. Talks about directories. They've got some options there. I'm going to click N to go to the next, next. Because I know down further, there's a lot of stuff. I'm looking for the type, looking for what I just showed you. All right, the word directory is showing up a lot of times. I'm going to hit the / again and look for type. And man, there's a lot here. To be honest, when I was doing this the first time, I Googled the answer instead of actually jumping to the directory because I found a way to do it on Stack Overflow. I was trying to come here and show you how to find it like the hard way, the right way, using the manual. And you know, this is a long manual. Find is a tool that can do a whole lot of powerful stuff. We're trying to kind of do some of the easier use cases. And obviously what I just did worked, but I'm trying to find in the documentation. So I'm just going to scroll down. I'm just holding down the J key just to go down line by line till we get to type. Okay, there we are. There it is in the manual. Sorry for that long, ugly detour, but hey, that's real life. That's, you know, playing around. There's where we can do type and then C. So instead of type, we could have type C. It can be a D for directory. That's what we just did. Or F is a regular file. So what if we search for type F? These are going to find files, log files on my computer. And, well, files that have log in the file name. And holy cow, there's a lot of them. Lots of change logs here, log in, all that good kind of stuff. We've got some login.py, so log is in the file name. So that's how we would, if we just wanted to search for a file or a directory, we could use that type parameter there. If we just wanted to search in our home directory, we know that special tilde. So let's try this. It's going to look just in my home directory for files that have the word log in them. And we do have, well, when I log out, it's going to be recorded, it looks like. Do I have any directories that have the word log in them? I do. So in that siphon files that we downloaded, there's a directory with log data in it. So the basic syntax, we're using find. Where are we looking? And it's going to search recursively by default. What's the pattern of the name we're looking for? And we can specify, just give me directories or files if we want to. Or we don't have to specify that, and it'll show us both. So find is useful if we don't know where, if we're using a new system and we don't know where the system put a particular file, we can use the find keyword to help look for stuff. So we looked for fruits, we found fruits. We don't even have to be, if I cd tilde, so I'm back in my home directory, so I could find, starting here, name, fruits. So we didn't actually have to change directories to find it. We could search in our home directory to find that particular file. So it searches recursively. It searches all the subdirectories until it exhausts all the directories and looks everywhere. So it works pretty fast. Personally, I think it's faster than finding stuff using Windows default search. Like you type something in the search bar and like Windows just churns like forever and ever and ever. It seems to take a long time to find what it's actually looking for. So the find program on Linux works a lot faster. Works really well.